George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Well, we've got a new president at Onondaga Community College. Dr. Warren Hilton is OCC's newest president, just took the helm about a month or so ago. And how many months has it been? Is it 1 month, 2 months? How many months?
Just a little over 2 months. I started July 1.
July 1st. And
Yeah.
so, but the real introduction to the community begins now.
Yes. On this show.
On this show, Inspiration for the Nation, Dr. Warren Hilton. So glad to welcome you to the community. And I was just asking, I'll ask again, how have you unpacked? You found a place to live, children situated, all of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, my wife and daughter are here now. For a while, I was in temporary housing and they were not here, but we're here. We have a home. We're still unpacking, but that's okay. You know how that works. So we may be unpacking for another 3 or 4 weeks, but it'll get done.
All right. So tell me about how you made it. How'd you get here? What happened? How'd you get to OCC?
Yeah, well, when growing up, I grew up in Philadelphia. Growing up, I had a lot of people who were either mentors or coaches or, play aunts and, that basically kept me on the right path. Anytime I was trying to get off the right path, they would let me know it wasn't for me. So I was very fortunate to have so many people look out for me. So when I got older and was working in the corporate side for a while, I realized that I wasn't helping people the way that I wanted to help people. So I wanted to make the transition. I came over into the higher education space so that I can do exactly what people did for me, help me achieve my dreams. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm whether you're 15 years old or 95 years old, if you have a dream, I'm here to help you achieve it. And I do that through education.
Was it your dream to be a college president someday?
No. Funny story is probably it was back in 2010. I had 5 different people suggest to me that I would be a good college or university president, and I laughed at every one of them. Because I didn't really realize at the time what the job was and what it entailed. As a college president, you have the ability to help a variety of stakeholders, as I said earlier, achieve their dreams, right? Putting policy in place, working with, the faculty. And here at OCC, we have great faculty to put curriculum in place that will help people achieve their dreams, right? Which for most people in life, that dream is to be able to provide for themselves, their family, and to live a good, healthy, and long life.
OCC has changed a lot over the years. I mean, back in the day when I was taking classes there, there were, it was night classes. And now the college is certainly in a different place. Obviously, there was no residential housing at the time. You got a lot of new buildings and new programs at the college now, and especially now with tuition being what it is, you're seeing a lot more people take advantage of the 2-year college, and now you have this partnership with CUCA, I believe, still, right? I'm not. I believe you still have.
We have a number of partnerships with different institutions. Yep, absolutely.
You can just correct me on all of those, but I'm just thinking that with all of these changes, OCC is certainly positioned differently than it was when I attended there, as when I was taking professional development back then. I was a banker. I got my AIB certificate. Now, this is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So looking at where OCC has been, and now with the success of leadership and Dr. Crable and now you, how would you describe and position what the college is now, including the new partnerships, and how you see it situated in the Syracuse community? And something else just popped in my head, but let me let you answer that first before I go to my next thing.
Well, I'm happy to answer that. But first, I mean, the great George Kilpatrick went to OCC. I did not know
Yes,
that. This
yes,
is
yes.
unbelievable. I mean, and you know, this is a part of what makes OCC great. You talk about where it's positioned. You know, 85% of our alumni stay right here in the region within
Right.
25 miles of campus. And we're positioned to do some things that others may not want to do, right? We can be nimble. We can provide workforce training in ways that other four-year institutions might not be interested in. You know, and certainly we're doing things in the tech and trade area that are very exciting. So, you know, I talk to people. There's a statistic that I read 2 weeks ago. Almost 75% of seniors and people with disabilities who need a home health aide can't find one
Mm-hmm.
in the state of New York. I mean, that is amazing to me. We're
That's a
positioned,
big number, 50,
it's, it's,
75%.
it's huge, right? And you think about, you know, I have, you know, parents who are in their 80s, and I think about if they needed a home health aide, I would want to be able to call someone and get a home health aide to help them. You just can't find them. So we are positioned now. We have a home health aide certification program where in 3 weeks, it's a 3 week program. You can come in, you can get certified, and you can go out and be gainfully employed in a field where you're needed, right? So there's a lot of those opportunities that exist here at OCC for folks. And of course, as you pointed, we have the residential facilities for our students. So you can get that four-year campus feel and environment right here on our campus and get a 2-year degree or a 1-year certificate or what have you. So we're just positioned in ways where we can partner. And that's really what I'm interested in doing. You know, who can we collaborate with so that the whole entire region gets elevated?
Yeah, I'm talking with Dr. Warren Hilton, president of Onondaga Community College. And one of the things I was thinking about as you were answering about the positions and partnership as a community, and I just read this again. I just read a headline this week where obviously we have some of the highest concentrated poverty per capita in the nation. And while it has improved, it's still very high. And so partnering is going to be critical because some of the students who are being educated in this community is going to be coming through, um, coming through Syracuse and city schools and all the other
Yep.
schools around, and many of them and suburban schools will end up at OCC. So does the college have a role, a voice, a say in how it might contribute to the alleviation of poverty? If it
Yep.
does, what
Yep.
ways might it be able to do that?
Yeah, and we're first, I'll say we're open to having a conversation about that with anyone who's doing work to reduce, eliminate poverty. I know, you know, help with the issues that are, you know, in the area. We're happy to have that conversation. But you know, our main focus, right, is educating and training people so that they could go out there and be gainfully employed in good careers, making good money with benefits, so they can take care of their family. So there's an amazing story right now in a national publication, Hechinger Report, of a young woman, Alexis, who is now a senior at Syracuse University. She tells her story in that she went off to college as a young person, 18, 19 years old. It didn't work out for her then, dropped out, went to work, did well in the field, you know, started having a family, that type of thing. And at 39 years of age, she decided at that point, I need to pursue my college degree. She came here to OCC, right? Not a lot of money in her pocket. Had an issue with child care. You know, she had a family member that was watching, you know, her son. And then that kind of fell through for various reasons. And so, you know, that would have put her in a position where she couldn't attend school. Well, guess what? We have a child care center right here on campus for students who have children. It's subsidized, so it's affordable for them. So she was able to drop her son off, go to class, get her degree, and lo and behold, transfer over to SU. And the end of the story is right now she's looking into master's programs in engineering. If it wasn't for our OCC in the community, where would Alexis be, right? And that's a story that I've heard time and time again since I've been in Central New York from many people. Without OCC, I would not be, and fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is to that person. And so that's, for me, what our role here is, taking folks who may be living in poverty, educating them, training them, getting them out there in fields where, they can, be prosperous. And that's all we want for people. Now, are there other areas? Yeah, we have faculty members who have expertise in various areas that would be happy. We have the Meg O'Connell Center for Social Justice and Community Impact. We have 10 scholars a year in that center who are doing social justice work out in the community, partnering with organizations. Many of them will be working in areas around poverty and helping the community. So there's other avenues for us, but our main way of doing it is really about educating, upskilling people, training people. And you're going to see a lot more of that come out of OCC. We're leading a consortium of 10 other community colleges to provide healthcare pathways for individuals. So individuals who want to get into the healthcare field, whatever that is, that's not just nursing. We're doubling the capacity of our surgical technology program. I told you about home health aid. We started a certified nursing assistant program, and we have many, many more programs in health and other areas that individuals can pursue. If they need childcare, we have a food pantry on campus. We're connecting them to financial aid. Shout out to Governor Hochul for the part-time TAP, because that's huge for many of our students who are going to school part-time. So, we're connecting them to what they need so that they can, graduate and become employed.
Let me just get a few things established. So when you said part-time TAP, you meant part-time tuition assistance program.
Yes,
so
yes,
people,
I should. I should spell it out. I apologize.
And then you also mentioned the Meg O'Connell Center for Social
Justice and Community Impact.
Community Impact. And we should point out that Meg O'Connell runs the Allen Foundation, right?
Yes.
A philanthropic arm in the community, making obviously an impact in so many ways in that community, in our community. And so I was interested in hearing you talk about the different partnerships and the different stories, and giving me a shout out, because when I was a banker back in the day, and I took some what do you call it, American Institute of Banking courses, which were at OCC at the time, and I have another OCC connection that I'm involved in. So the great Jim Martin, I don't know if his name has popped up in
Not yet,
but it will, right? So way back in the day, so we did this dance show called Syracuse Soul. And I got to send you the clip of this, because the first ever show that we ever did to launch that show was at Onondaga Community College.
Wow.
Yes, in the cafeteria, in the old cafeteria. And when you see when I send you this clip, now this is many years ago, and I was actually, I think I was a recent graduate of Syracuse, which was in 1982, if you will.
Okay. Yeah.
Or 83, I think, is when I was already out of school. So this clip that I'm going to send you is from 1983, but it was we created this dance show called Syracuse Soul. My partner is Butch Charles, the legendary radio voice here as well, and a few others. And Jim Martin, who was also not only on the faculty there at OCC, but also a radio talk show host. I'm sorry, a DJ. I'm sorry, a DJ.
Okay.
He had a show. I'm really going back in the day. He had a show back in the 70s, and I'm not sure when it ended, called The Black Experience. And it was on like, back then they had all of these, radio stations really had to have, diverse programming before Ronald Reagan ended all of that. So that's how far back this was. And so anyway, yeah. So anyway, Syracuse Soul was a show that was fashioned after like Soul Train and so we did that, and it was started right there at OCC.
Right there at OCC. Amazing.
Yeah. So, but your vision and how you want to build on the Debbie Sidos and the Casey Craybills, and how they each took, the college in a different way. Now you're going to be yours for a minute. We hope for a long time.
Absolutely.
And what do you think is going to be your imprint that's going to be even different than what they were able to do?
Yeah, I think both of those presidents built a really strong foundation for where we are. I would say, for me to say my role here was successful 10 years from now, I would like to look back and people say OCC is everywhere, right? We're the partner that everybody wants to work with. And just like the conversation we just had, when people are sitting around their dinner table or out mingling, people go, "Oh, guess what happened? When I was at OCC, this happened," right? And that's really critically important to me because, you know, I love the SUs of the world and whatnot, but they can't quote a statistic like 85% of our graduates stay right here in the region, right? And that's what's critically important to me. Every place I've been, when I leave, I want to make sure that the community, the region, is in a better place than when I got there. And that's all I'm here to do, is to be a humble servant to this community, and come in and learn what the community needs and wants, and then put that into action in any way that we can here at OCC. We have a talented faculty, a talented staff. They're ready to do these things because they believe in the community being in broadest sense. Doesn't matter whether you're from Syracuse City or you're an indigenous person in the Onondaga Nation, if you live out in the suburbs of Manlius or Camillus, wherever you are, we want to be that partner that's going to help you through education be successful.
It's interesting that you mentioned the nation, right? And of course, the college's name is right. How do you strengthen those partnerships, or what partnerships exist right now with the Onondaga Nation?
Yeah, so the nation, I'm learning. So we have some partnerships with them, with the Scanow Center, us and SU, and some of the other higher education institutions. Um, we are, working to build I guess with some people back in the day, I don't know what they're calling it this year, but we used to call them financial aid nights, down in Lafayette School District, and we want to, partner with some of, if they will come, some of the national, Native American scholarship organizations, and see if they would be willing to participate virtually, to expose our young indigenous population to what scholarships they are out there for them to go to college. But quite frankly, I still need to have some more conversations with folks from the nation to really understand what it is they need. We have wonderful 16 athletic teams here, which is not common at many community colleges, and world-class athletic facilities. And
Go
at
Lasers.
least go Lasers. That's right. At least 15 of our lacrosse players are indigenous students, and they're the reason, big part of the reason why we have so many national championships. So for me, I want to learn more from the chiefs of the nations and the mothers from the nation community, and really understand what it is they need. Because when I go into communities, I don't go into communities telling them what they need. I come in asking them, what can I do to partner with you to help you reach your goals? And so I haven't been able to have those conversations yet. When I do, I'll come back and let you know how we're going to continue to partner with them. But those are some of the things that we have planned already.
All right, I got more questions for you. You got a minute?
I got time. I'm all yours.
All right, we'll have more with Dr. Warren Hilton, president of Onondaga Community College, when Inspiration for the Nation continues, celebrating people we feel good about. George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation. Our guest is Dr. Warren Hilton, president of Onondaga Community College. And, I've been thinking about this for a minute. Do you have a sense of your own historical appointment at Onondaga Community College and what that means and what that represents, not only for your ascension, but also what that might mean for others who might aspire in their pursuit of higher education or believe that, oh, yeah, I can be president too one day.
Sure. Yeah. I was asked this question by a news reporter back in May after I was appointed. And I tell you, it is not lost on me. Anytime you're the first of something, that means something. And for me, my answer to that question is me being the first Black president here at OCC. What that means to me is I want to be what others were to me, right? When I was growing up and I was able to see, maybe it was a Black business owner or somebody from my community, no matter what their race, going on to do something that nobody else had done. And so that's what it is for me, whether you're, that young person in Syracuse City thinking, I could never be a college president or whatever their dream is, or whether it's, that single mother out there who's living in the suburbs who's thinking, I could never get to where I want to go. I tell people all the time, I'm just an ordinary person that has been used to do some really unique things in my lifetime that I've never thought I would do if I think back, 40 years ago. So for me, being the first is just I want people to know that if I can do it, they can do it, whatever that first is for them. College president, like I talked about the young woman earlier, you could be an engineer. You could be the first in your family to get a master's degree, right? So all of those things are really what it means to me in terms of being the first. And I wear I wear it with honor. I'll put it that way because, and humility, because like I said earlier, I'm an ordinary person. So it's not like there was something special about me. You know, so I like people to know that, like, you can do this. Whatever your this is, you can do it.
Do you feel any added pressure to be exceptional? That whole idea that, you know, being the first is also a lot of pressure, right?
Mhm, mhm.
You feel
It
that?
certainly is. We all know, particularly in the Black community, the feeling when somebody rises to a certain level and they mess up. I think back to when President Obama was elected, and
Right.
the Black community was ecstatic, but we were all also watching to go, if he messes up, with what's going to happen? Will there ever be another? So yeah, that's in the back of my mind, way in the back of my mind. But I tell you what's in the front of my mind. Every day I wake up, I want to do this job with excellence because
Mm,
I view the work that we do here at OCC as the difference between life and death.
mm,
What happens to a person if they don't get this education, right? What are their outcomes? Their health outcomes, we know, decrease if they don't get this education, right? Their income, right? All of that is critically important. Even for our students who are here, I take it as life and death because some of them, although we're the most affordable option, and I read a statistic earlier. I think the average student loan payment for an OCC grad is like, if I guess over 20 years of paying is like less than $50 because the average debt is something like somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000. Where at a four-year institution, that $50 turns out to be more like $350 as a loan payment. So even though our grads are not taking out, our students are not taking out a lot of loans, but what happens if they don't get the degree? Now you have a loan that you can't pay back. It messes up your credit. And then you have all kinds of issues. You can't buy a house. You can't do the things that you want to do. So for me, this is really about life and death. And every day that I get up, that's what's in the front of my mind. How can I help whoever it is at OCC achieve their dreams? Because it could be if they don't achieve their dreams, right? Where would they end up? So that's front of mind for me. back of mind, yes, I think about, hey, I want to do a good job so that there could be another, whether it's a Black president, Hispanic president, an indigenous president, right? Whatever it is, I don't think I should be the last.
Right. And then also your own like professional pride. Like you want to be, I did that, right?
Right, right.
There's also that too, right?
Certainly.
You was it, I think there was back when I keep going back in the day, where I grew up in the city of New York.
Yep.
And I came here and made my home in Syracuse and raised my family here, and they all went to public school here except for one, and then they all graduate. We got one left.
Okay.
And community college, City University of New York was free tuition at the time. And I think I heard somebody who was running for either president or something talked about free community college. Did I hear that right? And is that even possible?
Certainly it's possible. And there's places that are doing it. Down in Tennessee, they did it. Where I came from in Philadelphia, the Community College of Philadelphia was making it free for, I believe it was Pell eligible students, or, there's opportunities there for it to be free. I mean, the reality of it is if you apply for federal financial aid and you qualify for a full Pell grant, and then the full TAP tuition assistance program grant, that's
It
all free
virtually
money
is,
to
right?
you,
You're
and
just saying.
that takes care of your tuition and fees here at OCC. So is it free for some students today? Yes, it is. I think with I believe it was President Biden, what they were trying to promote is making it free for everybody, not just low income, but even folks in the middle class, for that to be free.
Do you
And we
think it should
know,
be?
I think it should be. If in the debate is more about at what income level does it become free, right? It
Mm-hmm.
should be free. Just like many, many years ago, when you do the research, and thinking about how high schools, became free to folks and how that led to economic prosperity for the country. So I think if it becomes free, we'll see greater economic prosperity for all in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking to Dr. Warren Hilton, president of Onondaga Community College. What is there? So 3 months into the job, feeling your way, what you're looking to build partnerships and build, obviously strengthen the bottom line of the school as well, right? And would you explain the SUNY partnership and how that works?
Sure. So, here at Onondaga Community College, we are part of the SUNY system. SUNY has over 60 colleges and universities. And so we benefit from all of the knowledge and engagement, at that system level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's very critical to us. Here locally, people may not or may not know, we are also supported by the county. So Onondaga County is our sponsor, as we call it. And so, the partnership here at the county, as well as with SUNY, and at the state level with our legislators and others, is critically important to us. So yeah, we're happy to be a part of SUNY. And as I mentioned earlier, we're leading a consortium of 10 other community colleges and creating pathways for individuals to get into the healthcare field. That's a $5 million grant award that we were just awarded from federal dollars. So we're thankful to Senator Schumer and Gillibrand for this opportunity for us to show our leadership in Central New York and beyond.
What is it that if you were to ask the community for something, what do you need from us as community in support of the work of OCC and the educational foundation for the students here?
Yeah, I would say three things. Number one, give us a chance, right? When you're looking at, training, higher education, give us a chance to show you what we have to offer. And I think you'll be very surprised. Number two, I would say, tell us what you need, because we have some thoughts about what is needed, but if we don't hear from the community, we don't know what is needed, right? And then number three is no, I want the community to know that every day the good folks here at OCC, when they wake up, our faculty and staff, they wake up with the same mindset that I do. You know, that we want to help people achieve their dreams. And how we do that is different for each person, right? If you're a single mom, it's going to be a little bit different. If you're a 18-year-old high school grad coming straight here, it's going to be a little different. If you're from the Bronx, which we have a number of students from your city, New York City, right? Who have come up here, living in our residence halls and studying here, it's going to be different. You know, whether you're from the suburbs, whether you're a senior citizen coming to get some education and training, it's going to be different for each person. And I just want people to know that every day our intent is to do our best job.
As we think about the future and the work that you're doing and the partnerships and all of that, I mean, I'm just thinking about listening to you. You know, you really have a passion for the students. Who are some of the people that influenced you on your journey?
Yeah. First and foremost, I know it sounds corny, but my parents. You know, my parents are both from the South. They migrated to Philadelphia. Didn't have much. You know, didn't barely had a high school education, and I watched them work hard every single day to provide for my brother and I. So I have to say my parents first and foremost. After that, I mean, I can name a whole bunch of people, you know, pastors and teachers and, you know, coaches and everybody, you know, that was the village that helped me get to where I am today is critically important. And I have to say, individuals from all walks of life, you know, poor, rich, white, black, Hispanic, you know, I've had I've had Catholic nuns who have, you know, pulled me aside and said, "Look here, son, you can't do, you're going to be successful," you know. And I was just like, "Wait, I'm not Catholic," and they were like, "We don't care about that," you know. So, you know, I've had a number of people who really poured into me, and that's why I feel so strongly about pouring into other people.
Did you play a sport back in the day?
Way back in the day in high school, I played basketball. And I'm almost 6'3". I try to claim 6'3", but I'm not quite there. But that's how I was 6'3" in the 8th grade when I graduated, and I haven't grown then. So my basketball career ended my junior year of high school because I didn't grow anymore, so I couldn't be the power forward anymore. And I started playing football, and turns out I was really good in football as well. And loved playing it, but I really didn't love it that much to play at the collegiate level. So when the recruiters came knocking, I said, no, I'm fine.
And that's
So
something you didn't love it that much, but you were good at it.
I was good. I mean, I was all city down in Philadelphia. You know, I played in the all city game my senior year, but I recognized that you know, I had some knees that you know, they would ache even at that age. So I knew I wasn't going to play in college very long, even if I loved it that much. So, you know, I'm thankful for all the things that athletics taught me. And that's why I'm so grateful to be at a place like Onondaga Community College, 16 varsity sports at a community college, you know, so it's amazing.
What did athletics teach you?
Taught me discipline. It taught me if you want something, you got to work for it, right? Because I didn't want to sit on the bench. So it was like I'm going to practice so that I'm not sitting on the bench. And it taught me how to work with other people from different disciplines. I went to Central High School in Philadelphia, which is the second oldest public school in the country. Very diverse school.
And what side of town is it?
It's probably northwest. If people know the northwest section, it's
like
right
near
near Broad,
with yeah,
Broad and Alany.
Yeah, and it's Temple
down
near
that
there.
way.
Yeah,
Temple's not too far from Central. And you know, we had students from all walks of life, all races, and playing athletics in high school. I remember I had a running back from Italian running back from South Philly. One of the linemen was from Northeast Philly. I think
Hmm.
his family was German descent. Wide receivers, from the same neighborhood I grew in. So it taught you how to work with all people from all walks of life. And it's really critical. And I always say our athletes sometimes are our best students because, at the collegiate level, you can't play unless you got your grades right. So we know you're going to graduate. If you come to OCC and play sports, you're going to graduate because our coaches have a vested interest in you graduating.
So, what's one thing that you haven't been asked yet that you certainly want to talk about?
Um, hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of people have been asking me questions. One thing that I haven't been asked, how about, man, because somebody even asked me, if there was anybody you could go see a concert, dead or alive, who would that be? I mean, I was like, wow, that's an interesting question. Um, yeah, I can't think of anything right now, but I'm open to any questions folks have. You know, Somebody just asked me what was my favorite restaurant in Syracuse, and I had to defer and say, I really haven't tried them all yet. So, but so far, man, I like King David over there. I like Mediterranean food, possibilities. Now, well, actually, let me clarify that. I like possibilities, but where I really go to is across the street, the bakery, Pasta's Daily Bread, which I need to stay away from.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I give a shout out to the folks over in Fayetteville at Craftsman Inn. I've been there several times, but my body of work in restaurants so far in Central New York hasn't been big enough for me to say I have a favorite yet. So
Well, let me ask you about some food that you might know, right?
yes.
So, we all hear about the Philly cheesesteak. Have
Oh,
right? So, would you please educate the good folks of Central New York? What is the proper way?
yeah, yeah.
Is there a
So
proper way to have a Philly cheesecake? And have you had, is it Danny's down in Armory Square? Have you had that yet? And does it measure up to anything you might get on Broad Street? And I heard that the best cheesesteaks may not necessarily be those two down in South Philly that fight it out.
yes, Pat's and Geno's.
Pat and Geno's, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So no, most people in Philadelphia don't go to Pat's and Geno's.
See, I do
uh,
that. I
yeah,
heard that.
so yeah, there's really no proper way. I would say there's some things that that don't make a Philly cheese. Like when people start adding like, oh, it's a Philly cheesesteak and it has peppers and all kinds of stuff, extra stuff. I'm like, that's not a Philly cheesesteak.
All right.
Um, Most folks in Philadelphia that I know of, most of my friends and people I know, do not do the cheese whiz.
They don't do the cheese
They
whiz.
don't do the cheese whiz. It's either American or provolone. Fried onions is good, and usually there's not sauce, right? That's the other thing. People will be like, "Here's a Philly cheesesteak," and there's a whole bunch of like red spaghetti sauce on it. It's like, nah, no, that's not a Philly cheesesteak. But I can't say that there's a proper way. Most of my friends is fried onions. You got to have it on that Amoroso or Conshohocken bakery roll. That's just has the right texture, and maybe you put a little ketchup, some salt and pepper on it, and call it a day.
But nothing. So again, American or provolone and onions, and that's it.
Yes,
And you said
fried
they have to be
onions.
fried onions.
Fried onions. Yes,
And now,
that's
are
the.
those fried onions crispy or are they just sauteed
They
hard?
just fried. They just fried.
Yeah,
They
right,
just
right.
regularly
Okay.
fried right in
Because
there.
now I got a taste. Now I'm gonna have to go downtown and get one, just like you said, just to see. Because they have the other.
Hey, somebody told me about a place in North Syracuse I haven't been to yet, Geno's. So I am gonna get up there and try Geno's and see
And
if.
and Danny's, I believe that's what it's called, in Armory Square. I think
Okay.
they think they are authentic.
All right.
So
Then I'll get over there for
yeah,
sure.
in Armory Square, right down there.
Now, the one thing that I must say that I haven't found is that Philly soft pretzel in Syracuse.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't found that either.
yeah, yeah. So I
Oh,
went home a couple weekends ago, and I actually bought like 30 of them and put them in my freezer.
all
So
right. So the Philly soft pretzel, and there has to be. Is it hot? Is with mustard on it or no?
I can eat it without mustard, but many people do use mustard. Yes. Yeah.
So we really okay. Now, what are your hobbies?
I really don't have time for a lot of hobbies.
You don't
I
have
used
time.
to do I used to do quite a bit of fishing at one point, and I just haven't had time to do that. I read books, spend time with my family. I like to cook. I like to bake.
Okay.
So
Which
those would be the biggest things that I can do, cooking and baking now. Yeah.
uh-huh. What's your go-to, like, if you had this, you had Warren's, what is that?
I would say two things: macaroni and cheese.
Oh, you think you could do
Um,
that? Okay, let's see.
oh! I told you, my parents are from the South, so macaroni and cheese to me is it's got to be baked in the oven.
Uh-huh.
It's not a cheese sauce with a roux. Like it's butter, eggs, and the secret that my mom uses is you use carnation evaporated milk instead of regular milk. Yeah, I mean, like tons of different cheeses, like so cheesy that it's ridiculous. So
How many
macaroni and
cheeses?
cheese.
How many cheeses?
It depends upon my mood. Usually at least two, sometimes as many as four. If I just depends on my mood.
So you're
Yeah.
not trying to deal with the roux is not your not no
Nah,
roux
nah, nah. I'm not doing the roux. It's just it's got to be that old Southern baked macaroni and
with the
cheese.
eggs and
Yeah, yeah. I'm five eggs. Couple sticks of butter.
Oh,
Yeah, 2-3 pounds of cheese. I'm
oh
making it the
yes.
old fashioned way.
Oh man.
Yeah, when you eat my macaroni and cheese, at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I ate something. It's solid. And then I would say I like to bake. I make a good Southern coconut pie, chocolate chip cookies. I like to bake. So those are my go-tos. Yeah.
You got any teams you like?
Well, I don't know if I should say
Yeah, it's probably I can probably guess. Go ahead.
all the Philly teams, and
That's
then I'm going to
good. Oh,
stop you with like
I thought you was gonna say a cuss word and say the Dallas
no, no,
Cowboys.
no, 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 no. I can't. No, I can't. No, no. All the Philly sports teams, the Eagles, and I know we're in Syracuse now, so Donovan McNabb has that connection.
Yes, yes.
Marvin Harrison is actually, around the same age as I, and I saw him play all throughout high school. I actually played high school basketball with his cousin
Mhm.
Anthony. But yeah, all the Philly sports teams now. What'll surprise some people and may get me kicked out of Syracuse is my college football team since I can remember, probably late '80s is Notre Dame.
Eh,
Yeah, and I know
it's
people don't
whatever.
like Notre
Yeah.
Dame football.
No, no. Notre Dame is like the Cowboys. It's like,
Yeah,
so whatever. Yeah, I
yeah.
hear you. As long as you didn't, but I mean, at least you didn't say Villanova but they don't really have football, do they?
They don't have football like that. I mean, they're good in there because I guess they're FCS or I think
Right.
or FBS, whatever it is, FBS or whatever. No, it's FCS. I said it right. But basketball, yeah, Villanova is one of my favorites for college basketball. Now that Jay Wright is retired, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. Well, listen, we wish you well. I mean, just a quick run us through your educational journey, because my partner on the show, Vicky, she does the money segment with us. She'll be
Yes.
back in a couple of weeks. She always says, ask them their educational background. She always asks me so like where you went to school and all that, undergrad.
Absolutely. So I told you I went to Central High School in Philly. When I left there, I went out to Indiana University of Pennsylvania,
Yep.
out in rural Western Pennsylvania. Got my bachelor's in computer science there. And I told you I went out and worked in the corporate environment. So I did that for several years. And then I went back to IUP, as it is known, and got a master's degree in student affairs and higher education. And I rounded out my education getting my doctorate in educational leadership and management at Drexel University in Philadelphia. So yeah, that's my journey.
So this venture into New York is a thing for you, right? I mean, you really spent a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
time in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania and then the DMV area down around DC. I spent some time down there, Western Pennsylvania. Most of my time is in Southeastern Pennsylvania near Philadelphia. Um, but I told my family, I said, "Oh, you going up to New York? You're gonna be far, far away." I said, "It only takes me 3.5 hours to get to Syracuse, and it took me 5 hours to get to Pittsburgh
There
from
you
where I
go.
live." So I said, you know what, it's a shorter drive. So I'm happy to be here in Central New York. It's beautiful, the lakes, the scenery. I mean, it's lovely. So I'm very pleased to be here. And Syracuse, while it's a smaller city than Philadelphia, I think I have a lot to offer from the lessons that we learned in Philadelphia about how you deal with things like, lead abatement, how you deal with poverty, and how you meet people where they are. And so I'm happy to be here, and the community will tell me in several years from now if they were happy to have me here,
That's
and I
so
look
great.
forward to that conversation.
We hope it's a long relationship with Dr. Warren Hilton. He is the president of Onondaga Community College. Another Philly import. We got two in 2 years. With your
Same high
boy.
school too. He went to the same high school
Yeah,
I did.
listen to this. Bertram Lawson, the CEO of the YMCA. So Philly, two Philly dudes making a go of it here in Central New York.
We're
But
both loving it up here. So thank you. I'm so pleased to be on your show. I've heard a lot about it. The many, I mean, celebrities. I mean, I was reading, your first person on the show was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Did I read that right?
that's correct. Yes.
Man,
You did some research because that's
I
true.
did. I was like, wait a minute, man. I don't know if I deserve to be on this show. I mean, he's got Johnny Cochran on here. He had all the heavy hitters on here.
Add you to the list.
Yeah, but hey, I'm humbled, and thank you so much. And I look forward to many more conversations.
We also look forward to it, and we welcome you to the community. We wish you much success, and we know that based on this conversation, we know that you will make a difference. But there's one thing that you must do for us is that we must taste that macaroni and cheese, and we got to make that happen.
I'll make that happen. I will make that happen for sure.
We got to do that. All right,
you and your wife come over, and I'll make sure we have some mac and cheese for
let's
you.
go. We gotta make that happen. That's a deal.
Yeah.
All right, that's Dr. Warren Hilton, Inspiration for the Nation.